So with Solo Leveling Arise, the latest game mode we got was the Battlefield of Chaos. A fantastic game mode in my opinion. It is now my favorite game mode. Before it was the Power of Destruction, but yeah, I'm enjoying Battlefield of Chaos that little bit more. Thankfully, there's no timer on it in terms of on how many times you can play it throughout the day. Like, you can play it as much as you want. So there's that. Really can put you to the test on testing out a few things. But I think the fun thing about it is that, you know, there's multiple bosses, there's multiple waves. It's putting your team to the test too. I don't know. I just thoroughly enjoy these type of content. More importantly, I can play it as much as I want. Now, I wouldn't say it's hitting the sweet spot. And the reason I say that, a while back, there is a specific game mode that I have been requesting that Solo Leveling Arise could potentially look into. And it is something similar to the Simulated Universe, a game mode that is on Honkai Star Rail. Now, I'll go into that in just a second, but the reason being with that mode, it is RNG, like completely RNG. You can have a run where it's just completely different to the run after that, to the run after that, to the run after that, and I think that's what makes it probably my most favorite game mode. So let me just kind of break it down to you guys and what I'm talking about for anyone that is not understanding it or what the Simulated Universe is on a game called Honkai Star Rail, which I'm sure you guys all know of. Alright, so just to give a quick explanation of what the Honkai Star Rail Simulated Universe is, it's basically a game mode with a floor system, with bosses, etc. So pretty much, you start it off, you build a team of 4, and before you head into the game, you get a that is not a blessing of your choosing, sorry, there we go. So you get a blessing of your choosing, as you guys can see, where you'll get some sort of benefit for your team as you're progressing along, as you guys can see right here. So when a character launches follow-up, the attack, their speed increases, so things like that basically. Now, I'm not going to go in further details about how if you like get a whole set of these cards, then you get a bit of a bonus. That's kind of more advanced into it. We're just going to talk about this game mode in a simple terms. So you basically pick a buff and then you head into the game. As you're progressing through the floors, there's going to be minions that you got to beat, and once you beat a floor, you then get another additional buff. Now, this is kind of where the RNG comes into play, to where it makes every run unique and a lot of fun, and that's one of the key things that I love about this game mode. And then obviously, as you're going through the floors, like floor 5 will eventually, you'll run into a boss, and then by defeating the boss, it will give you a higher rarity of a blessing. And as you guys can see, they are very more valuable, and they affect your team in a lot of in a better way. Once you defeat the boss and you get your high rarity blessing, you will then end up on a floor where you can get an additional character if you want to switch up your characters. So you've got a set of 4 when you begin with. You defeat the first boss, you can claim another character, which means you've got 5 characters. So if you want to switch up someone from your team, then you can do so. There's heals and whatnot and all that good stuff. And then of course you can do little trading, little RNG play if you want to trade in some resources that you build up throughout this game mode for some more blessings, for some more upgrades, we'll say that. And pretty much that is it, right? You continue going into the floors, it gets more difficult, you fight another boss, you get yourself another character, so that way you're now got a 6-man. And then eventually it will come to the final boss, and then if you can beat them, then you get the main reward for completing the initial mission, or the initial raid, should I say. And that is pretty much the premise of the Simulated Universe. And again, this is one of my most favorite game mode that I have played on a gacha game for a very I treasure this game mode so much because I love it that much. It is such a good game mode. For a solo game to perfect a game mode like this, like, I have to give props to Hoyoverse. I have to. And this is why I'm saying with Solo Leveling Rise, I feel like they could mimic something like this. And I don't know how I missed it, boys, but I think they are cooking something like this. So Alpha a while back came out with a bit of a placeholder on what's going down, but there is a new game mode in the works. Obviously, we know that the Brilliant Light Workshop, that's going to be the next game mode. They've already kind of pre-announced that and whatnot. But they are working on something called Dimensional Gap Mode, which probably won't be the name. Probably it's just a placeholder name, but whatever. But it is pretty much, as you guys can see, something similar to what I've just said. So there's going to be multiple portals Depending on which portal you go through, there's going to be a blessing of your choosing, which will give you a buff of some sort. And then, as you guys can see, there are going to be bosses to fight against. We beat those bosses, we head over to the next portal to then give us our potential next fight, next buff. Now, this is all fun and games, right? I see what they're trying to do here. I kind of want them to do it in a way where it is kind of like Honkai Star Rail. So to give you an idea is, rather than doing, because right now what I'm seeing is, right, we get to choose what portal we want to go through. Obviously this portal is a boss. This portal is, I don't know, it could be fighting regular creatures or something, and then the blue portal is going to be a blessing. Oh, I'm going to go for the blue portal, and then 3 new portals we're going to open up, depending which one we want to go from. Eventually it will come down to where all 3 of the portals we have to defeat an enemy, right? There's going to be an enemy in each portal, so then we have to beat them. I mean, okay, cool, that sounds cool and all, but I would kind of want it to be more engaging, meaning that we hop into the game, we're in a dungeon, to where we're Jinwoo, of course, and obviously when we start the game off, we pick our initial 2 weapons to our 3 supports, right? And then of course they can do a hunter version where Jinwoo is not there, where we pick our 3 characters from the hunter's standpoint. We're in the dungeon, we're progressing along, breaking stuff to get some sort of materials that is gathered within the dimensional gap, right? So that way we can potentially trade it off. Unless they don't want to add anything like that, that's fine, keep it clean. There's a grunt, we beat the grunt, and then we come to the floor level boss that there is. It could be an elite or a grunt of some sort. We beat them, then we get our blessing, and then we head over, continuing further more into the dungeon. I think I would much prefer it to be, again, it's very similar to how Honkai Star Rail is doing it, right? Well, I say that, yeah, no, it is kind of similar. It is kind of similar, right? But I mean, I feel like it'll work. I feel like it can work pretty nicely. But that's kind of what I've got thinking. Again, it's very similar to how I want it to be, like the simulated universe, but like I said, I loved it. Now, I think the key thing about the simulated universe that I really thoroughly loved is the RNG play of the blessing. Like I said, I'm doing a run and I'm getting these blessings, and then out of nowhere there was this crazy blessing that was giving me 3000% attack up. Like, excuse me, that just took the run to a whole new level, and my basic attack was doing like 5 million damage. Like, hello, it was ridiculous. That's the thing, and I think that's what makes that game mode so much fun. You just don't know what the outcome is going to be once you get to that final boss, because you can really screw yourself over and make things difficult, or you can do something like how I did it and give yourself a disgusting amount of attack increase. And so if they can play around with the whole blessing side of things, to it's given us some random buffs, I think that's what's going to make this game a lot more funner and enjoyable. And again, don't put any limitations on that, on the amount of times that we can play it. Just give us unlimited runs. I think that is going to be a key thing for this game, and I truly do believe that if they keep it as how I've kind of explained it, especially with the whole RNG play with the buff side of things, I think this could be like the top favorite game mode, which a lot of people would just be grinding out. In terms of the reward side of things, I mean, I'm not sure what they could do. Oh no, then again, we do have those new gear sets coming in, so they can throw new gear sets for this game mode. There you go. So through here, I don't recall ever seeing this gear set, nor this gear set. Interesting. Again, these are just all placeholders. These are just all placeholders. But I thought I just wanted to talk a little bit more about it, as this is my dream game mode to have on Solo Leveling Arise. I've spoken about something like this to happen back when the game was in soft launch, so to actually visually see something that they're actually cooking up, I'm excited for the future, because again, this is a clear indication for a future game mode to get added in. So hey, let them cook, let them cook.